To a Saturday morning DFS show with Ryan and Sterling over here. We got Bristol this weekend. I figured what better way to break down, honestly, my favorite track
Yeah, definitely.
than do a live show, or not live, but semi live show on a Saturday race day morning. So we will do a driver by driver breakdown, I'm sure, go over some practice results, our favorite DFS plays, and kind of go from there. I know last weekend we were at Lernerville. That was a cool track. Well,
Yeah,
I've been to Lernerville. I know it's a cool track, but it was kind of cool seeing Corey Day run there, and then a week later run the Truck Series race at Bristol.
yeah, that sucked to see Corey Day lose a wheel. He was spanking them in that race.
Yeah. I mean, he didn't fare too well in the trucks, but that was still pretty cool to see him. Yeah, I mean, he had a straightaway lead in the high limit race, and then he
Yeah,
just, I don't know if he blew a tire or axle broke, or I didn't hear the exact.
that's the entire wheel just came off, so something broke there.
Something broke, but yeah, that was cool to see. The Truck Series race was I thought, pretty cut and dry. I mean,
Yeah,
there's a lot of passing and a lot of excitement, but not really for the lead. Lane Riggs.
yeah, I did not have enough lane rigs. I played probably 35%, and I was wishing I had a little bit more.
Yeah, then we were talking. I didn't. Unfortunately, every year I always try to tell myself I'm going to sit down and watch the junior race, and something always comes up and I don't get to. So I didn't really get to watch a lot of the race last night. I know Sterling didn't, so we don't really have to touch on that. But I know Cole Custer won that. I didn't.
Yeah,
I didn't even see the optimal.
I'm not sure what it was. Biggie and I were recording for double coverage, and he had it on his laptop, and I was watching it, and immediately Cool Custer hits the wall, flat tire. I start thinking the day's over right then. Then old Geyer takes lead and was on his way to dominating the race until he got screwed over by that lapper. And from that point on, it was over for me. I had 100% Gator and 50% Custer, so
Yeah. So going into the Cup, we won't spend too much time on the lower series, but I did see Sheldon Creed finish second again. I didn't. I didn't. I didn't see the
that.
finish. I kind of hope it was in dramatic fashion, like he was going for the lead, and
I
something
think
happened.
last I seen, Custer had like a 5 second lead or something.
So it wasn't even close. But yeah, going into Cup, I did see tire wear wasn't really necessarily an issue in practice.
No, that's kind of want to hit on that real quick. Back to the spring race, how that was just an absolute mess with the tires, and I think we don't see anything like that. And I think
Right.
when you're looking back at past lineups and whatnot, you kind of just avoid the
Throw,
spring race.
yeah, just throw that one away. I feel like that one was just a non. How does that word go?
Anomaly.
Yeah, that word. But yeah, I agree. I didn't really see much tire fall off. If I think there's a little bit, but I think I saw like 15, 30 lap runs. There really wasn't any to little tire fall. So I don't know. I'd like to see a little tire fall off, but I mean it's a lot better than the absolute extreme. So
Yeah, I definitely do not want to see that. This is the same tire, though. This is the
yes,
third Bristol race on concrete that they'll run this same tire. And they also run, I'd have to double check, it's either the right side or left side tire at Dover, but it's not the full set.
now what could come into effect is I guess they did practice and qualify in the mid afternoon. I mean,
Yeah,
does the night race, because it was cold? I guess that's why the tires wore a little quicker. Maybe with them running the night race, maybe it does rear its ugly head a little bit, but I don't think I'm taking that into account when building. I know I'm not, but I don't know if you
no, I'm
are.
not. I am going to try and see what the weather is, though.
Yeah. Let's look at the weather outlook for that. So while he's doing that, is there anything you want to touch on before the driver by driver breakdown? Anything you saw in practice or qualifying? I did not get to watch either.
I did not get to watch practice or qualifying there, but I kind of just quickly want to go over before we do the driver by driver stuff. just kind of hit on lineups a little bit so people can somewhat think about how they want to build as we're going over drivers. But like I said, I'm going to basically just throw out that spring race, but looking back at that, they had two main dominators that scored over 50 points, and then they had like a third speedster that had about 20 points, and there wasn't really a punt. There was a 6K guy in that. It was John Hunter Nemechek. He started 36, finished 15th, had like 3 speedster points. But looking down at the 2023 fall race, that had 3 speedsters, 2 main guys that scored. The one was 69 and a quarter, then the other one was 76, and then the third had 33. So I feel like I'm definitely going to be looking for 2, more like 3 speedsters in this race. The fall race had 3 speedsters in 2022. Then we had 2 in 2021, and then a couple like partial speedsters there. But looking back through at the optimals in the past 5 years or so, I think that went back to 2019 there. We're going to want probably 3 speedsters, definitely at least 2.
All right, I am actually going to try to share this with you guys. See if this comes up.
Yeah.
You don't have permission to edit it. Okay, that's fine. All right, so I believe, yep. Okay, so it does come up. So yeah, this is the optimal lineup, guys. Like Sterling lock-in. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
Go
you're
ahead.
good.
Yeah, like he said, the spring. There is the fall. Obviously, you have the driver, the salary, where they were starting, I assume where they finished, how many points total, and then how many speedster points. So that is fast laps, where they get 0.45 for a fast lap, and then
quarter of a point
for a lap led. So yeah, it looked like 2023 fall, you'd had a punt with JJ Yaley and almost a punt with Gilliland. But Gilliland, like you said, started 30th, finished 16th, so really that wasn't really, to be honest. I mean, Yaley was 5 times value. Gillen was 7 times value. I mean, a lot of these guys, you're going to look for 10 times value. I mean, your dominators. I mean, look at Larson, 109 points on 11,000. You're looking for 9, 10 times value on your DOMs.
Yeah, that I think we ought to kind of talk a little bit about that 2023 fall lineup there.
Yeah.
Just because of the simple fact that there's 3 guys priced above 10K in that one. It's Larson, Hamlin, and Christopher Bell. All of them guys put up over 100 points, and Larson had 33, 69, 76 for the other guys. So I feel like
Larson qualified in the back. That's what made him like a place differential and dominator.
Yeah.
I don't think we really have that this week. So yeah, that's an interesting one. So it looks like you are shooting for anywhere from 450 to 500.
Yeah, there was a couple in there that were like 420 or so, but for the most part, I think we're looking at right around 450 to like 480.
Yeah. Blaney, that's a weird one. 2021 fall. Blaney with only 69 points, going from 7th to 4th. It's optimal. Harvick the same way. That must have been a weird race, that 2021 fall.
Yeah, and then if you look at the total salary used there, the least amount or the most amount of money that was left on the table was 800. So
yeah, I definitely think you're gonna want to not necessarily stack the top, but it's definitely cramming as many of these dominators. And I definitely think, I mean, Cruz made a good point. I think you're going to want to diverse your portfolio a little bit here, because you got your Byrons, you got your, Christopher Bell, Larson, either one of them guys could take the lead and lead for 130 laps. So it's definitely one of those you're going to want to get different. So, yeah, so I was able to share that. Let me bring back up DraftKings here. Okay. happened there? Whoops. All right, sorry guys, we're just kind of messing with this here. And there we go. Okay, we are back. All right, so obviously Sterling's got some practice times pulled up. I didn't find it. I mean, for me to pull it up, it would be redundant, or not redundant, but it doesn't give you, because there's so many laps here that I'd have to just scroll and scroll and scroll. So I will not bring up practice times. You do also have like past results, right?
Yeah.
All right, so we will go through and kind of go driver by driver here. So
I do want to hit on real quick though that if you guys want to look at that practice stuff, you can get in the Dynasty DNA Discord. It is posted in there.
Yeah. So we do have what do you call that? A QR code there in the corner, top left corner. It is a great Discord, guys. I mean, we have guys that have taken down many GPPs in that Discord, and they are very transparent. And anything you guys need help with, just join the Discord. It's free. So, and you got plenty of great minds in there. Sterling, Cam Fan, a lot of good guys in there that will help you out with anything. And, race day, we're always busy answering questions and everything like that. Going over driver ownership, like who has exposure to who and what percentage and everything like that. So, yeah, just driver by driver breakdown. First off, 11K, Denny Hamlin. I was looking at his practice times. I know Sterling did send over the practice to me before the show, and I was kind of like trying to see if I could somehow get it on the screen to where it looked semi decent. I really couldn't, but it looked like he had long run speed, but I don't know. I didn't really see a lot of short run speed out of him. 11K. I don't want to say it's a full fade, but I don't know what is his ownership.
I was looking here, and I just want to hit on the fact that Hamlin has won 2 of the 3 next gen races here.
He has. So he is definitely one of them drivers that like could find the lead and win this race. I mean, we know where he is in the cutoff. I don't know. It could be one of those where a Ty Gibbs wrecks out. He just kind of just rides around a little bit, because he did that at Atlanta, and I don't want to say he didn't do that again at Bristol, but if it's like one of those where all he has to do is finish in 20th, I could just see him doing it.
Yeah, and he's projected to be about a third owned across the field. So
yeah, I'm definitely underweight on that.
He's definitely a guy that I'm going to be underweight, but also a guy that I definitely am going to prioritize a little bit to get some pieces of.
Yeah.
I'll probably be right around the field.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm going to be under. I'm just afraid of him playing more strategy because, I mean, you saw him with on his podcast, he said about the 75 points he needs to advance and everything like that. And I don't know. I feel like he's overthinking this whole playoff system.
He's choking.
Yeah, he's choking. So yeah, I would rather, honestly, I think I'm going to be playing these next 3 guys a lot more. I don't know how you'd prioritize them. I will ask you after we go over them. But Kyle Larson's starting second. I mean, what more do you have to say about Kyle Larson? He's great on this intermediate package. I think that's what they're running at Bristol, right?
Yeah.
The intermediate package. He's great on the intermediate package. Dominated Dover, I believe, which is, a concrete mile. Bristol's kind of like Dover's little brother, I want to say. So I think I haven't really started building yet, but and listen, guys, I mean, I'm going to be the first one to admit I don't think I'm telling any secrets here, but Kyle Larson is the biggest boomer bust guy lately. But I think he might be my top owned guy, and I might just try to ride it.
He will absolutely be my top owned guy. He's finished top 5 in all 3 next gen races here. He was unbelievably fast in practice, had the best pretty much every lap average 5, 10, 15, 20, so on. He was hands down the best driver in the field. But I went back through and I looked, and like I said, I was kind of taking out the 2024 spring race. But if you look at 2023, 2022, and then this year's Dover race, Kyle Larson has averaged 32 speedster points. So I would expect that to pretty much be his floor today.
Yeah, and I'm like I said, he's probably gonna be my top owned guy. He could sit here and pull Darlington and sit here and lead 2/3 of the race. Nobody would be surprised. So I'm sure he's projected as the highest owned guy. I'm sure Sterling's gonna look that up.
He's at right around 43%, which would make him the second. He's pretty much tied for the first.
Okay, yeah. I think you still have to do it. I mean, I can see going away from it. Maybe in my single bullet 15 entry or $15 entry, I might maybe just fade them. But other than that, I think like Chrome Horn and everything, I think it might be 100%. But in my get different lineup, I might fade them.
I think that is the perfect guy to fade if you're trying to just be different. But at the same time, you have to understand that you're most likely gonna just donate.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. You're either gonna donate or you're gonna hit. But next up, Christopher Bell. This is a guy that for midsummer or whatever, he was one of the hottest drivers. He seems like a guy that I don't have the stats in front of me. Sterling does. I feel like he runs good at Bristol.
As I'll look at that here in a second.
How was his practice? I see you're on the practice charts.
Yeah, his practice, he was pretty much a top 5 car. Down towards the end of it, he did start to pick up. Got a little bit faster, but something I want to hit on about Christopher Bell is the high line came in pretty quick in practice yesterday. I did see that. And Christopher Bell has came out a few different times and just said that he doesn't really like running the high side in NASCAR like he used to in the sprint cars.
Okay.
So maybe have a little reason in there to not play him. He's someone that I'm honestly not too sure which way I'm going to go on yet. But in the 2024 spring race, he finished 10th and then 3rd and 4th in the other next-gen races here.
Yeah, he's just – I mean, obviously he's priced at 10-3. He is a guy that could just come out here and kind of be like Kyle Larson and dominate. But, yeah, maybe you really have to squint your eyes to see it. That's interesting about the Highline. I actually didn't know that. So –
across 6 Cup races at Bristol, he has 2 top 5s and 4 top 10s.
Okay.
He has led 360 laps.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting one. That kind of makes me rethink. I really honestly thought Bell was going to be a top guy, but maybe not. Next up, we got William Byron. We got a Hendrick Motorsports first 3 guys. William Byron, man, I don't know, Sterling. It just seems like the 24 team shows up and they're fast one week, and then they disappear for however many weeks, and then they show up and they're fast.
But it seems like every week in the playoffs they show up.
Yeah.
I feel like through the summertime they're already locked in. They know it, so we're just seeing them try to figure things out, find something that someone else isn't on already.
Yeah, that's a very good point. So I wonder, if that's kind of how you get different. I feel like a lot of people are going to click the Larson Bell. I wonder if you just click Byron. Byron is a very safe racer. I feel like in my opinion,
his practice really stuck out to me, actually. Like, I honestly didn't have a whole lot of interest in William, but when his practice times got sorted and I was looking through them, he was a top 3 car early on. Pretty much top 3 car throughout the entire practice.
Oh, wow. And another thing, don't quote me on this, I think he had a faster qualifying time than Larson. I just feel like it was because of the group that he started behind Larson.
I
I
actually did not get to watch qualifying, but
I think I know. I think I noticed that. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that he had the faster lap than Larson. But it's just because he was in a different group.
I do believe now that they switched that. The Group A is the inside line, Group B is the outside line. So
Yeah,
that would make sense with how they're lined up right now.
yeah, yeah. So Byron's definitely a guy that. Yeah, I think I'll be. What is his ownership coming in at?
Right around 27%. He's got 2 top 10s in the 3 next gen races here. He did have 35th in the spring, but we all know that race is pretty much.
Right. I'm sure something happened there. I can't remember off the top of my head.
I would imagine he blew a tire at some point, like half the field did.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of shitty though to look here and see that he across 10 Bristol races he only has 2 top 5s, 4 top 10s, 6 top 20s.
I know. It's just one
and
of those.
He's never led a lap here.
Wow. I did not know that. I don't know. It's just one of those. Byron's just one of the. 2014 can just come out and just dominate. Nobody will ever see it coming. Kind of like how they do. They just show up a week and you don't really see it coming. And could be this week. Next up, so how interested are you on Byron? You gonna be over the field? You think?
If he's around that 27%, I probably will be at least slightly over that.
That's honestly what I was thinking. I was like, I don't think I'll be like in a 40, but I think I'll be maybe 30.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean I do have some interest in him, but Chris Buescher, last week's winner, great finish. Won Bristol here last year,
2022.
2022. Okay, so 2 years ago he won Bristol. Now when
he didn't just win, he dominated.
Yeah, and when he won Bristol, didn't he win the week before? Or he won 2 weeks before, so this could be shades of that again. I'm sure Buescher's ownership is going to be ridiculous. Is he one of the highest? Was he the highest? Or?
He's actually a lot lower projected than what I expected. He's under 20% right now. So
wow, that's crazy.
I haven't built a whole lot yet. I was playing around with it last night, and I was trying to make it a point to get Chris Buescher in.
Yeah,
and I actually couldn't really find a whole lot of lineups that I was comfortable with.
I think that's going to be the bad thing with Chris Buescher, and I think a lot of these 9-8, 9-5 guys, it's like you're going to want to shove in 2 dominators that you think are going to dominate, and then it's going to be hard to find the expensive place differential, which is the next 4 guys.
Yeah.
So I mean, being at 9,000, you're really going to have to punt or maybe do a double punt. I don't know if I feel like there's enough value on this slate that I don't think you're going to have to double punt.
Yeah, I was sitting here kind of going back through the optimal lineups, looking to see how pricey the place differential plays were, because I feel like between Buescher, Keselowski, Blaney, maybe throw Logano in there, I feel like you need at least one of these guys. I would like to try and get 2 of them, but I don't think you can do that.
Yeah, that's going to be really hard unless you go a Larson, Buescher, and just completely don't do another Hamlin, Bell, Byron.
If you're doing that, I think you're playing Alex Bowman.
You have to play Alex Bowman at that point. I mean,
Chase Briscoe.
Or Chase Briscoe. And I guess I don't really mind that. But yeah, I mean, this is definitely where you're going to want to play different lines, I feel like. Because, I mean, you're going to have lap leaders. There's 500 laps here. But if Larson rattles off 300 laps led, then there's not a lot to go between the other guys.
It's something we've seen him do before, actually.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, like we always say, tell a story with your lineup. I mean, like Sterling said, if you're going to play Larson and then a bunch of place differentials, I mean, throw Bowman in to try to get some more laps. I mean, you're gonna want your lineup to get as much chunk of that 500, I feel like, as humanly possible. So, I mean, theoretically, you want all your drivers to lead the laps, and I feel like with the way this is constructed, you might be able to. So Chris Buescher, I feel like I'm gonna try to be over the field, but I'm with Sterling. I mean, I haven't really built yet, but I could see where it would get tough. But I will try to shove him in just because. I mean, he is a guy that, like we saw it 2 years ago. Apparently, like he won. I don't even remember if it was Watkins Glen that year, but it was a race, and then he turned around and won Bristol. Like it seems like when he rattles off wins, he is a very um, do I want to say vibey or a very streaky? I don't know what exactly you want to say there, but he's a guy that could do it. So Brad K, starting 23rd, a little bit more place differential. Chris Buescher's teammate. I know he finished second here last time they ran here with all the tire issues, but he's not a guy that runs good at Dover, right? I want to say that, but I could be wrong on that.
I'll have to look that up here real quick. But looking at his last three Bristol starts, he has a third, eighth, and a 13th.
Oh, okay. So maybe I was wrong on that, but I mean, okay, so he didn't finish second. I guess he did finish third, but we're throwing that race out. So
Dover this season, he finished 11th.
okay, yeah. So I mean, that's not bad. Playoff driver. I don't know where he is. I don't think on the cut line. I mean, we're gonna see a lot of. There's a lot. There's a lot like not to get too far off the rails, but this is a close. Like this could be a very damn close. Like people getting in, people getting out, and we could see this flip flop and change. So like, I don't want to say it worries me for playoff drivers and for DFS, but I mean, we could see some strategy being played where like a couple of these guys have trouble early.
Yeah, and something else to hit on with BK is that in that 2022 race that Buescher won, Kozlowski also led a shit ton of that race, putting up 51 speedster points. So that year, that time frame, there's I want to say a couple months in 2022, that RFK team was just on fire.
Yeah, they were. They were. RFK seems like a very. They always qualify together. They always seem to like run together. They're very like. I don't know. It seems like where Chris Buescher is, Brad Keselowski's like they're close to him somewhere.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and look real quick here. All right, he's got 26 races at Bristol, 3 wins, 7 top fives,
Wow.
10 top tens, and 18 top 20s. He's
Okay.
led a little over 1,000 laps across 26 races.
All right, throw out my. He's not very good at Bristol. I don't know where I was thinking that. But yeah, Brad Keselowski, I guess, might be more intrigued to play him now.
Yeah, of the active drivers, he has led the third most laps.
This is honestly like I'm not getting too far off the rails again. This is why I like doing these shows. You kind of stay sharp. Like it definitely helps. Next up, Ryan Blaney. This guy was really fast in practice. At least like Sterling's got the lap by lap breakdown, but like at least from what I saw on Twitter and stuff, just from the averages, I feel like he had a really good practice.
Yeah, and I've said it for years that Ryan Blaney is somebody that I'm playing when we're at a concrete track. But he had the third best lap, the third best average, and he put up a ton of number one lap times. And I'm probably going to start all my lineups with Kyle Larson and Ryan Blaney.
Yeah, and I honestly don't mind that. I mean, I don't know what happened in qualifying there, but we're always trying to find the discrepancies there between practice and qualifying, and by the looks of it, that's where it's at. How's Blaney's ownership? And
he is tied for first with Larson.
I figured.
I feel like this is a spot where if you're not playing Blaney, you're playing Buescher or Keselowski.
Yes.
You can make an argument for Logano, but I'm honestly just not going there.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think Blaney Larson will probably be my top owned guys, except for if you're trying to legit get different. So
Which it obviously looks like most of the field is going to start off that way. So once we get further down here, we'll try to find some places to get different.
yeah, for sure. So Logano, Sterling touched on him. Joey Logano, 9,300, starting 20th. How did his practices look? Because I honestly,
His practice actually looked better than what I originally thought. He was like shown top 10 best in average speed, but if you look across all of them, man, I don't know. He did put down a lot of like 1 and 2 top 3 type laps, but then a lot of them were like around 15th. So
okay,
he's kind of, I don't know. I feel like Logano has the speed to get there, but I just personally don't think he does.
right, yeah. I'm kind of with you. I don't want to say a full fade, but I don't think I'm really prioritizing shoving Joey Logano in a lineup. So next up, we got Chase Elliott starting 10th. All these Hendrick guys super fast, and we got Chase Elliott being the last of the Hendrick guys starting 10th. Um, I'm kind of curious on this because I mean you could kind of you know get some place differential. I mean if Hendrick's all as a whole unloaded fast, you can kind of shove some place differential and some potential dominators if he would end up getting up there and lead some laps. But I feel like he has to do that at 9,000.
Yeah, at 9,000, starting 10th, you're definitely looking for some speedster points out of him. He finished 8th in the spring, 7th in 2023, 2nd in 2022. But if you look back through those last 3 next gen races here, he's had 4, 1, and 7 speedster points.
So not a lot.
Now, that could just be the next gen card because if you look a little further back, he had 48 and 26 in 2021 and 2020. So at one point, he was fast here.
I feel like that's his story all the time with the next gen car. Like I feel like once the next gen car came out, I mean he's even come out and said it. Like he just doesn't run good. So I don't know. It's tough for Chase Elliott. I mean, like we said, he's gonna have to get up there and lead and get some speedster points, get some fast laps, and I don't know if I'm there on him, to be honest. So
No, and we're actually shockingly seeing him around 20% owned, which I think I would just fade that
yeah,
20%.
yeah, I think so too. I think that's him as a full fade on Chase Elliott. So next up, we got Kyle Busch, and this is the guy I was excited about going into the weekend, just because he has a ridiculous amount of wins. I think they said over 20 in all 3 series at Bristol.
That's crazy.
But it just doesn't seem like that car unloaded fast. Just like I said, judging off the averages, I don't know. I mean,
He has 8 wins in 35 Cup races here. He's led almost 2,600 laps, which is over twice as many as anybody
Yeah.
else in the field.
yeah,
But I would agree with they just did not look to unload fast, and when they don't appear to be fast in practice, that
They're not
seems
fast.
to carry over.
yes, yeah, that definitely does. So I was excited about him coming into the weekend. I thought maybe this would be the race that he might snap that, or not snap the streak, but continue the streak. But I don't know. I think I'm out on him. He just didn't, like Sterling said, when they don't unload fast, RCR as a whole, and Austin Dillon's right there with them, it just doesn't seem like they can correct it enough for race day. So
Yeah, he looked to actually have decent, decent long run speed, but starting that far back
being 8,800,
and as hard as it is to pass in this next gen car on a short track makes me a little bit nervous.
Yeah.
I do want to hit on, though, that there was one point that scared me enough that I faded Bush, and he ended up going from 36 to win the race. So.
Yeah. I mean, he could do it. Wouldn't surprise me. Like I said, he does need to break that streak. And going into the week, I was like, this is the week he does it. But I don't know.
I thought the same, but
Yep.
I think the guy right below him
Yep.
is going to take a lot of that ownership in that range.
I think so too. And this is another guy I was high on going into the week, Ty Gibbs. I mean, he was just super fast. Actually, the last couple times at Bristol, I think he led a bunch last time. Am I thinking right?
Yeah.
That spring race that was a shit show. I think he ended up leading a bunch of it yet. And,
it looked like he was actually going to win that race until he lost a tire.
Yeah, and ran good at Darlington. I believe runs good at Dover. I think I'm all over Ty Gibbs this week.
Yeah, if you look back across the last two Bristol races here, Ty Gibbs has a total of 99 speedster points.
And that's what we want. So yeah, Ty Gibbs, like I'm with you. I think a lot of people are going to click him instead of the guys around him, like Kyle Busch, and the next guy, Tyler Reddick. How does Reddick run at Bristol? Because I feel like when that pricing came out,
it's a track that when you think of Tyler Reddick, you would think he would.
That's what I thought.
But really, across the last four races here, his best finish is 12th. And across all of his cup races, his best finish is 4th, but that was in 2020.
So, going back, not to go back to Gibbs, but what is Gibbs' ownership? Is his ownership projected to be high?
Ownership is slightly below 30%, and I guarantee you I'm going to be way over that.
I'm going to be way over on that. And then how about Reddick's? I feel like with that price, and that place diff, I feel like people are going to be all over Reddick.
Yeah, Reddick is right around 25%, which is not hardly any less than Ty Gibbs.
No. How did Gibbs and Reddick do in practice?
Gibbs was fast as fucking practice.
Okay, I like Gibbs.
I'm honestly probably going to start every lineup with Larson, Blaney, Gibbs. So
I definitely don't mind that.
Reddick, however, did not look good in practice. His best lap ranked 29th. His average overall ranked 26th. And if you look down through, he's looking to be roughly a 15th place car.
Okay.
Now, down towards the end, he was starting to lay down some laps. But I think at that point, a lot of guys were just kind of off track. And that also could factor in maybe he changed to the second set of tires later than anybody else.
Yeah. I think Reddick's almost a full fade for me. This next guy, Martin Truex Jr. I don't know, going into the week, I heard on Letard's podcast that like Truex is just absolutely terrible at Bristol. And then obviously Truex Jr.'s luck lately. I always joke that, if he got into an airplane, I'd try to turn around and find another flight. We said that with Kyle Busch, Bubba Wallace earlier in the year. Now it seems like I think the I don't know what the opposite color of the golden horseshoe is, but I feel like it found its way to Truex's car. So Truex starting 4th, unless you convince me otherwise. I'm a full fade on that one.
I can't do it. Across 34 Bristol races, he's never won. He's got 3 top 5s, 5 top 10s. So that right there, only 5 top 10s across 34 races. I can't do it.
I can't do it either.
And there's nothing in practice that really makes me want to do it either.
No. So next up, we got Josh Berry. This is a guy, like, going into the week, like, you'd think Josh Berry, Bristol, 8,200 price tag. I was kind of like, that's a little steep. He qualifies 25th. Is there anything there that...
I mean, I don't like his practice. He did finish 12th in the spring race, but we keep going back to the fact that we're not
Right.
taking a whole lot out of that race.
I think he was like one of the guys that like ran. How do I want to say that? Like as soon as a green flag would drop after a caution, like he would run his tires really hard.
Yes.
Yeah, like I remember him leading a bunch, like maybe not leading, but like he would work his way up to the top because everybody else was
He did
kind of
have
safe.
16 speedster points.
I thought so. I did remember that.
He
So
did finish 14th at Dover. So if we could get something like a 14th out of him, that'd be what, 27, 28, roughly 38 points. I don't think that's enough.
yeah, he's gonna have to get some laps later, some fast laps, and yeah, I don't know. I don't know where I am on Josh Berry yet, to be honest, because this is a track that he should excel at. But
yeah, I think he would be an interesting way to get different, but he's not someone I have a whole lot of interest in. I'm probably going to play 20 lines in the 15, and I doubt I have any Josh Berry.
yeah, I don't blame you. Next up, we got Ross Chastain. This guy's quietly been on a roll. Obviously qualified on the pole last week. I can't remember where exactly he finished. But it seems like his finishes. Actually, let me pull him up. Finished 4th, 13th, 5th. I mean, he has 2 top 5s in the last 3 races. And then obviously Atlanta, which that's a super speedway race. You can kind of throw that out. And then, so yeah, Ross Chastain qualifies 12th. How is he at Bristol?
Across the last 3 next-gen races here, he was 15th in the spring, 23rd in 23, and 6th in 2022. Looking at his practice, he's another guy that didn't show anything until very late in practice, and I'm going to go back and look at this again after we get off here, and I'll kind of throw something in the Discord about it. But I'm thinking these guys that were slow in the beginning, fast in the end, just ran very long on the first set and then switched to the new set later than anybody else, which is making them look faster than they were.
And his teammate was not fast at all, and I feel like a lot of people are going to go to his teammate to try to get place diff.
Yeah, I think the same.
I mean, we'll get there, but his teammate doesn't look fast either, so that kind of worries me as far as Trackhouse as a whole this weekend. Next up, you mentioned him pre-show, and I think a little bit during the show. Chase Briscoe is starting 5th. This was a guy that what was it? Darlington he ended up winning? Yeah, Darlington. Kind of the same track. And we did the same. He did the same thing. Like qualified top 5. I faded him. I don't know if you faded him, but
I did.
And he ended up coming out here and winning. So him qualifying 5th might be. I don't know what his ownership looks like.
Seeing his ownership projection just above 10%, I feel like that's probably pretty accurate. Darlington might spike it a little bit, but he's a guy that I'm gonna have a lot of interest in. And if you ask me if it's MTJ, Barry, Chastain,
I'm going to go Briscoe.
Every time.
Yep. In that range, I think I'm going to go Briscoe. So, yeah, because I don't have any interest in Truex, any interest in Chastain right now. Josh Berry, like you said, maybe just to try to get different. I might throw him in a few. But, yeah, Chase Briscoe would definitely be in that range, the guy that, I have the most interest in. He could get up there and lead. They find speed randomly, and them finding that speed at Darlington, and that wasn't a fluke. Like he had that speed all night.
And he's one of the guys that he pretty much has to win this, doesn't he? To continue on.
I think so. Yeah, I think you're right. So I'm probably gonna be definitely over the field. I'm definitely gonna have more than 10%, but
absolutely.
So. Yeah, you're going to bring up the...
Try to, yeah.
Yep. All right, Sterling's going to bring up the point standings here. Like I said, I feel like these point standings are... It's going to get very hairy tonight, I feel like. And I kind of hope it does, just for the, simple fact of being a fan, but
Yeah, I'm excited for a Saturday night race just for the simple fact that NFL is back, and I've
yeah.
honestly been kind of watching more NFL than
All right,
racing.
get the hell out of here. Yeah, I've been watching.
If it wasn't Atlanta and Watkins Glen, it'd
I
probably be a
know.
little different.
I couldn't agree more. I hated Atlanta. Watkins Glen was terrible. Bristol, I am. If they ran the Bristol Day race, I would definitely watch the Bristol Day race over the NFL. But yeah, being Bristol night, this does. They have no competition as far as football, and then tomorrow we can focus on football.
So go ahead.
Go ahead. That's
Briscoe is actually +6 on the playoff bubble right now, which is a lot better situation than I expected. The guys on the bubble are Harrison Burton, which we all know he's done. Martin Truex, he is back 14 points. Brad Keselowski back 12 points. Denny Hamlin back 6 points. So the guys right above are Ty Gibbs, Chase Briscoe, and I'd say William Byron's pretty fine unless something major happens.
so Chase Briscoe. As long as he finishes right around where he starts in stage 1, he'll get 5 stage points. That'll really help out. So that'll, kind of ease that cushion because Brad Keselowski's starting in the back. That'll be tough for him to get up there and get stage points. Denny Hamlin starting 8th. He'll probably get a little bit. Truex, like I said, I'm just not in on Truex.
I guess Denny Hamlin starting 8th, so he's not that far back. But
Yeah.
I think we might see some wild strategy out of Brad Keselowski. That could be a reason to play him. But I'm not in on Martin Truex, but it's man, I don't know.
Yeah, I honestly I don't know either. So it's gonna get hairy. I mean, like I said, I hope so. I hope just like Harrison Burton don't hit the wall, and then I don't know, like 3 other guys wreck out, and then it's just like the rest of the guys just kind of ride around. Like I hope it doesn't turn into that. I hope it's legitimate. Everybody's battling up until the last lap. Different strategies, different. Not just for DFS. I just hope that as a fan, I hope it's just not one of them races where basically, like I said, 4 guys blow motors and blow tires, and then the rest of the field just rides around, and as long as they finish, they're in.
Yeah, which I'm gonna laugh my ass off honestly if Denny Hamlin doesn't advance to the next round.
Me too. I'm low key really cheering for it. Just because that Atlanta thing, that was such a, what do you want to say, chicken shit? Do you want to say the Joey Logano quote there? Like that was just, and then the fact that he just gets taken out on the last lap anyway was just, that's karma. So going back to driver by driver breakdown, that was great to bring up. Alex Bowman, this is the biggest question mark of the week. What you do with Alex Bowman? Sterling looked up ownership. What was it, like 30?
It's almost 40%.
Almost 40% ownership. Could he come out here and lead most of stage 1? Absolutely. But I think he ultimately is a 5th, what do you want to say, 11th place driver. I don't know. And like Sterling said earlier, if you want to go Bowman, Larson, and then just cram, Chris Buescher, Ryan Blaney, I don't hate that. I don't hate that build.
I'm probably gonna have something weird where I play a lot of the top 10 starters in one lineup, like because you can get Bowman, you can get Briscoe.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm playing Larson, and then I don't know how I feel about it yet, but I might even consider playing Hocevar.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. The bad thing is with playing too many guys in the top 10, you're going to have to rely on a lot of different lap leaders.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Like I said, you're going to have to tell a story with your lineup that you feel comfortable with. Like, that's the only bad thing about playing Briscoe, Bowman, I think Hocevar, and like you said, Larson. It's like you're going to not need Larson to lead 300 laps, and you're going to need Briscoe to at least lead a little bit. I don't think you're going to need him to lead that much. And Hocevar, he's going to have to get someplace diff or just stay around. I don't know what his point and get some fast laps. So I don't know. I guess fast laps probably mean more than laps led if fast laps are 0.45. That's what kind of stinks about fast laps being so, you know,
Spread out.
0.45 versus 0.25 for laps led. It's like you're cramming guys that you think's going to be fast. So, I mean, maybe Briscoe and Hocevar are both in play.
Yeah, and the thing about Bristol is, as bunched up as they get, it's almost like a super speedway in the sense that
It is.
fast laps are just spread out throughout the field.
Yeah.
Now they're still going to go to like a specific group of drivers.
Right. But if you have a clean track in front of you, you could be a 20th place driver, and if you have a clean track in front of you, there's a good chance that if you can just run your preferred line, you could rattle. Yeah, I'm kind of with you. So I don't know.
But to look at Alex Bowman's next gen stats here, he had a 4th in the spring, 13th in 2023, 22nd or 32nd in 2022.
So yeah, I mean, obviously throughout that 30-second, probably something happened there. He's normally an 8th to 12th place driver week in and week out. That's kind of his downfall. He's not really flashy.
Yeah, and looking back at his speedster points, he had 5, 1, 2.
Yeah.
So obviously he didn't start in the pool in them races, so I think we see more than that. But it's so tough to decide what I want to do.
No, yeah, because with him being 7,600, it is tough. It really is. And being concrete, being at night, we know this is an Alex Bowman type race. I just don't know. And you said his ownership's like at 34-ish, projected
38. I think it was.
That's tough because, I mean, if Kyle Larson overtakes him by lap 20 and Alex Bowman doesn't sniff the lead after that.
Which is what scares me. I think we see Larson probably lead around lap 30 to 40.
Yeah. So
which at that point, if Bowman finishes top 5, he's done enough.
He has. And
he's got a 41-point cushion above the bubble. So, like, he really just needs to ride around this race.
So here, let's tell a story here. So Alex Bowman, like you said, plus 40. Let's say he rides around top 3 at the end of stage 1, gets 7 stage points. Does he really push? I mean, Alex Bowman is a very conservative driver as it is. I think I'm leaning more towards a full fade after hearing that, just because I just feel like he just is okay with a top 10 finish after that.
Yeah, I agree 100% with that. It's just
he could burn you. I know you're gonna have to take a stance on Alex Bowman, or I mean, if you want to sprinkle in the 30 or 40% and just be, but like I feel like if you make a bold stance on Alex Bowman, I feel like he's the driver.
I will say that I think Briscoe is the sharper play.
Yes, I do too. I feel like if you went Larson Briscoe instead of Larson Bowman, yeah, I like that. I like that start, like a Larson, Briscoe, Blaney. Yeah, I kind of like a Ty Gibbs, and then see where you're at as far as that goes. So yeah, basically, like we said, Alex Bowman, he's the biggest question mark of the week. I hate when a driver like that qualifies on the pole. Like I really honestly just wish it was a Kyle Larson, because then you don't have a question mark. But here we are. This is why DFS is so much fun and so frustrating at times. Yeah. So next up, Bubba Wallace, qualifying 11th. I know you said Tyler Reddick doesn't run good here. I don't know how it's, obviously Tyler and Bubba are teammates. How does Bubba translate here, and how is his practice?
He showed good early speed in practice, but the stats, the finishes, they do not look good. 29th last year, 14th, 23, 29th in 2022.
Yeah, I didn't think it translated well. So, yeah, I have little to no interest, I think, in Bubba.
If you look back across his 10 career Cup starts here, he has one top 10. So,
Wow. So yeah, one top 10 at Bristol, starting 11th. He's gonna have to finish in the top 10 for you to do anything. So yeah, little to none on Bubba.
yeah, I would agree.
Michael McDowell. This is a guy that actually the next two guys I have questions on. Like how do they run here? Because I feel like this is I don't know. I feel like they could both sneak into like top tens.
Who are we talking about? McDowell, Allmendinger,
Cindric.
Cindric. Oh, I'm looking at line, not price. McDowell, though, he's finished top 11 in all three of the next gen races here.
Okay.
Cindric, he has been garbage. 31st, 32nd, and a 20th. Let me double check that. Yeah. And then, far as practice for Cindric, where's he at? Let's see. He was actually shockingly fast early for his standards, anyways. Like he looked to be a top 10 car early on in practice here. Pretty much actually the whole way through practice, Cindric is looking like he had top 10 speed. But I honestly I feel like this is a practice that I'm not going to trust that for Cindric.
Yeah. 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 That's what I mean. It seems like that's real juicy for place differential, but yeah, I just didn't know how either one of them ran here because Michael McDowell, he's a guy that can sneak in the top tens at any point, and then Cindric.
I might have some interest in Cindric.
Yeah.
At Dover, he finished 15th. So I hate it, honestly.
Yeah.
Looking at his ownership, seeing him at right around 15%, Cindric could be a very interesting place differential play.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Next up, Allmendinger. I mean, this is a guy that honestly I try to stay away from because anytime he enters the race, he always seems to have mechanical failures, like Watkins Glen last week. I can't remember the last race before that. Oh, Michigan. Michigan, he entered the race. Remember, he was like the fastest in practice, and then it rained out, and then so he was that super chalky play. And then he had a blown tire or some kind of mechanical issue there too. I don't know how he runs at Bristol. I'm going to leave that up to you, Sterling, but he's a guy that I don't know. It just seems like that colleague car just doesn't ever seem to want to stay together.
No, he's got a 23rd, 30th, and a 7th across the last three Bristol races.
Yeah,
he has 24 career Bristol starts and only 2 top 10s.
Yeah, so starting 19th. I don't think that does enough for me.
Now, there's times in practice that he put down some laps, but it wasn't enough and they weren't consistent for me to really have any interest in him.
Yeah, I would agree. Suarez, like I said, he looked super slow in practice, at least from what I saw. I know you got the lap by lap breakdown, but just from the lap averages, he looked really slow. I feel like a lot of people are going to click him just because they're going to see starting 35th, but I don't know. That might be, I don't know what his ownership looks like. I just feel like it's going to be high because a lot of people are going to see that and say, oh man, like he's got a low floor, but he could very easily go a lap down by lap 30. And
yeah, he finished 18th at Dover. He's been around a 20th place car across pretty much the last 4 Bristol races. So let's say he finishes 20th, that's 23, 33, 38 points. And I mean, that's a lot for that price tag.
Yeah.
But it really comes down to, does he stay on the lead lap early to be able to get up there? And I personally don't think he does. And currently seeing his ownership at around 20%, I think it comes in at more than that.
I do too.
But
he might be a guy I full fade.
That's what I'm leaning towards. He's
Yeah.
a guy I just honestly don't have any interest in.
Nope. Because like you said, that 20% ownership, I wouldn't be surprised if that's 25 or 30, if not higher, because people see that. But you got to remember Bristol. I mean, we saw that with who was that in the Truck Series? Was that Majeski that
That
almost
went to the rear
went to
again.
the rear, and he battled to stay on the lead lap, and he had a fast truck. I mean,
It's
it's very hard to pass at Bristol, and if he doesn't have a fast car, he could very well get lapped quick.
yeah. I honestly think I'd probably rather play Hocevar than Suarez, and that's kind of disgusting to say.
Yeah, and that's our next guy. Obviously, host of our start. I'm kind of with on this one. I think host of art is a great way to get different. I actually don't mind this play at all. He has been a guy that just he qualifies this and he just sticks around. I mean, we saw him at Watkins Glen finish second, and that wasn't a fluke. Like he legitimately ran second. So I don't mind at all.
Yeah, that's I'm just kind of looking at Hocevar, Gregson, and Nemechek here,
Yeah, we'll
and
go ahead and lump all three of those in there. I don't know. I don't.
obviously Nemechek has the safest floor,
Yes.
but he just let's see, he finished sixth here in the spring. I just we know that race was a shit show. So what did he do? Dover finished 20th at Dover. I I don't know. I don't really have interest in Nemechek,
No.
but Gregson is the guy I think is interesting. He finished sixth at Dover.
Yeah, I think he was another guy that kind of would run hard, quick, and then just kind of see where he would fade. But yeah, he ran good at. I do remember him running good at Bristol. How did he run it? Or I know you don't have the. How did he look in practice?
He looked like a top 15 to 20th place car, so starting 16th.
Yeah, that's kind
He's
of
kind
tough.
of like, I think he has to finish like 10th to do it. I I don't see it happening. It's not unrealistic the way he has ran. But the more I'm sitting here looking at it, thinking about it, I think uh, Gregson's probably a fade for me.
Yeah, Gregson's a fade. I think Nemechek's basically a fade. I like Hocevar. Like I said, at 67, I will have some of that because I feel like he runs around that and does pretty good. But next up, Brian Priest, and this is a guy that I said in the Discord pre week. I hope he doesn't out qualify himself, and I think he almost did.
Yeah, that's qualified 14th, starting 14th, obviously, then. But he was like a 15th place car if we're lucky across practice.
Yeah, and this is he at Bristol. I don't remember the exact stats, but it's like every single race he's finished between like 10th and 15th, I believe. So that's what like, and it's been
He's
like
got 7 career cup starts at Bristol, 1 top 10, 6 top 20s. His worst finish is. Where'd that go? Son of a bitch.
yeah. But what'd you say? 6 races and 6 top 20s.
7 races, 6
Seven
top
races,
20s.
6 top 20s. So yeah, that's what I was like. Man, if he qualifies in the 30s, that's a guy I'm smashing. But
His worst finish is 25th, best finish is 9th.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, if he would have qualified in the 30s for 6,400 and his worst finish was 25th, that was a guy that I was like, man, that's a low key like punt. That's not really a punt. But then he goes out and qualifies 14th and completely. I don't think I have any interest in him now. So great for that team. Great for him. Just terrible for DFS. So next up, we got Ricky Stenhouse qualifying 31st. This is going to be Ricky's a guy that can make or break you. I believe he was running good at Dover, and if I remember right, I think he wrecked or something.
I feel like he always always wrecks at Dover.
Yeah, I feel like that's the case too. I feel like he's a make or break or driver, or make or break it driver. I feel like he could get up there towards the end. Mix in a top 20. I don't know how. Sterling's gonna bring up his practice and stuff, but
He was actually decent in practice. Towards the end, he was really fast, but again, I feel like that's just because he put tires on later. But looking back through his starts here at Bristol, he has been garbage in the next gen era. He did have a top 10 with a 10th place finish in 2023. I'm looking at his overall Bristol stats. He's got 20 starts, 4 top 5s, 7 top 10s, 12 top 20s, has never led a lap.
yeah. So
He has only DNF 3 times, which I honestly would expect a little more for being Stenhouse.
I think I will have some Stenhouse, honestly, because I feel like he's cheap enough to where if he does burn you, I don't feel like that's going to completely burn you, and he's starting 31st, so
Yeah, and I would call him like a 15th to 18th place car.
yes, and the bad thing is I feel like he is going to have some ownership because he is that kind of sexier. I don't want to say sexy name because Ray calls him Recky, but I feel like he always, anytime he qualifies in the 30s, he always brings high ownership.
Yeah, and especially at a track like Bristol or Dover.
Yeah.
But seeing him at just around 25, 26%.
I figured.
Which you actually see Eric Jones directly below
Yep.
him at a little more, right around a third of the field.
I think I'd rather play Ricky Stenhouse than Eric Jones.
I think I would too after looking at the ownership and just Jones has been so inconsistent this year. Not that Stenhouse hasn't been, but when it comes down to one of his better tracks, I feel like I'd rather play Stenhouse than Jones.
Yeah.
Jones did look about the same in practice as Stenhouse. I think these guys are pretty much literally the same play. So.
Yeah, I think they are. I think Stenhouse just has, like you said, a little bit less ownership. So Jones is probably the safer play, but I feel like Stenhouse is more of the home run play. So the next two guys, any interest in, we don't have to really touch on them too much. Corey LaJoy, Austin Dillon.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing to say about LaJoy is it's going to be funny to see him in that 51 next week.
Yeah. I mean, he's going to, I don't know, somehow fuck up that 9th place start. Austin Dillon starting 30th. Like we talked about with Kyle Busch, just doesn't seem like RCR unloaded quick at all. So I don't think I have any interest in Austin Dillon, unfortunately.
No, I can't have any interest in either one of them guys. But these next two, I'm torn between which one, or do I play both?
Yes. So the next two guys, obviously, if you listen to any of our shows, Todd Gilliland, and I mean we're just always high on Todd Gilliland, and Justin Haley. Todd Gilliland starting 24th, Justin Haley starting 26th. At their price points, yeah, I feel like you have to try to at least play one.
Yeah, and you look down through practice here, and they're looking like top 15 cars, maybe even slightly better than that. And then looking at their stats or finishes here, Haley has a 17th in the spring, 35th in 23, a 12th in 2022. Gilly finished 26th in the spring, 16th in 23, and 18th in 2022.
Yeah, so
I feel like you absolutely almost need one of these guys, if not both. And I don't know which one I prefer.
Yeah, I honestly don't either. That is tough because I mean both of them. I think like you said with the Stenhouse and Eric Jones, I feel like they're both the same play.
Yeah.
I mean, Gilliland does show a little bit more upside because of his like staying out, running long, doing whatever. But yeah, I mean they are literally the same play. I feel like. So the next guy, he's interesting. Harrison Burton. I don't know why. It is probably irrelevant, but the fact that he's in the playoffs, does it attract you any more to him? I mean, like I think my favorite players are the Gill and Haley, but I mean, are you gonna click Harrison Burton once or twice just because? I don't know.
It it kind of scares me to look at his practice because he was actually a lot faster than I expected him to be. Like he appears to honestly be like a top 15th to
Yeah,
20th place car, which at his price he'll crush if he can get to 20th. But
he is starting 34th. I mean, like we said about Daniel Suarez, if he can't pass cars quick enough, or if there is a long green flag run at the beginning of the race, he does have that where he could go a lap down quick and be in what do we want to say, like no man's land. So
which I think that's what we see. I think he
probably
has to be extremely aggressive from the get go.
yes.
I don't think we see that. I think he is probably a little more relaxed now after knowing he's going to have some type of ride next season. I think that is a terrible call on
Yes.
both parts.
Yes, it is. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, the fact that he's in the playoff, I don't know. I mean, just do I think this team has any chances of winning? No, not really. But
And I think this team obviously knows
they
that.
they
That's
know
why
it.
they're
Yeah,
moving on. And I think they're just happy to have that extra couple million to go into next season. And they're already looking at next season. I don't think they really honestly give a shit about the rest of this year.
No. I mean, who was it? I don't want to quote the wrong Wood. Was it Jack Wood or something or whatever that was like, no, we're not going to put any more money into the program this year.
I don't know which one it was.
It was one of the Woods. So.
I would assume, unless I don't know what the brothers' names are. But Jack Wood's a truck driver.
Or yeah, it wouldn't be Jack. What was the one? He was on DBC. I don't remember. But anyway, I don't. Yeah, Zane Smith. Like we were actually talking. I think Sterling said in Discord, Zane Smith actually had a really good practice.
Yeah, he laid down some solid laps early on, and then looking down through, he was able to actually keep that speed. He looks like he has outside potential to be a top 10. I don't want that to be taken too intense there. Like I don't think he comes out in top 10, but I think he is a very legit 15th or 20th place car.
Yeah, so I feel like that is a way to get different. I feel like I do a single bullet, $15, whatever. I feel like that's a way to get different. Like Gill and Haley, if you want to, just pivot off them and go Zane Smith, I wouldn't hate that at all. I think that's actually the way I'm going to go in my single bullet. Any interest at all in the last three guys?
I definitely have no interest in Daniel Henrik.
No.
But if you're using like all of the salary, I could see you making an argument for Growler or Bilicki just for the simple fact that
is Bilicki in that terrible 66 car?
He is, and I was actually just going to bring up the fact that kind of scares me because I'm not sure if Bilicki has any intentions on trying to finish this race.
Yeah.
Actually, I want to take that back because this is the race that he's got sponsorship from Arby's.
Oh, okay. I mean, that's interesting. That car is still a shit box.
It is a shit box.
Absolute shit box.
But I feel like
they're
going to have tires and whatnot, and they're actually here to try and drive around, finish the whole race, I guess.
Yeah, I get that. So, do we want to go ahead and, I guess, try to build a lineup?
Yeah.
All right. So let's build a very let's build a chalky. We'll go ahead and do what we do on Tyson Show. We'll build a chalky like cash lineup, and then we'll try to go different and go GPP. So I feel like in both cash and GPP, I feel like you got to click Larson.
Absolutely.
So where are we going outside of Larson? Are we still going Gibbs?
I love Gibbs and or Blaney.
Gibbs and or Blaney. So this is cash. Are we playing those in cash also?
I think Blaney you have to play in cash.
Okay. So Blaney cash, Ty Gibbs cash, Kyle Larson cash. Where are we going outside of this? We got an average where we could do 7,100. Do we go another top guy? Do we go? I'm trying to think. I don't really like any of those guys there.
What are we building right now? Cash or
Cash? Yes. Yep, cash.
Stenhouse could be interesting in cash.
All right, let's go Stenhouse. So that leaves us 75. Do we want to go another low guy like a Haley? Haley's got a lower floor. We'll try to go Haley. So that leaves us with 9,400. Go up towards Logano, Elliott. I don't really like that range. I actually kind of really hate that range. So we can pivot. Oh, is there anybody you like in that range?
No, not
Me either.
the only guy like in that range we already have.
Yeah, so we could even get rid of Haley. If we get rid of Haley, we can go down. What about Cindric?
I was considering that.
I didn't mean to click Allmendinger there. So Cindric, and then if you
we could play both Haley and Gillen, which in cash I think is kind of risky.
Yeah.
And then that would allow us enough for Busher or Keselowski.
Okay. So Haley, take out Cindric. That would leave us with 94. And then, or wait, how are you getting there?
Who'd you take? I took out Stenhouse.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Okay, so take out
Gilly.
All right. So then you're playing. I would probably rather play Busher than Keselowski.
I was actually thinking the other way. Just for the simple fact that there's a little more place differential, and Keselowski still has a shot to contend in the playoffs.
Yeah, we could definitely do that. Yeah, he does have a safer floor. So yeah, that's a pretty Larson Gibbs. So let's tell the story. Basically, we want Larson to overtake the lead quick, and this is definitely to pay out. This is definitely going to have to be a race where Kyle Larson basically dominates. Yeah, because I mean Ty Gibbs, unless Ryan Blaney would happen to get up there, or Keselowski, you're not really. And maybe Gillen stays out or something like that. But that's
I think we could see Larson take over early. Ty Gibbs get up there, take the lead off pit road.
Yeah.
And then Blaney and Keselowski just kind of get up there, maybe through strategy, and pick up some fastest laps along the way.
Yeah. All right. So
Haley and Gilly just kind of ride around, talk 20, talk 15.
All right, so now let's do our get different. So Kyle Larson, I still actually really like the Blaney. Do we try to? I don't like Hamlin. I was gonna say maybe we try to get different and how do we?
Let's go Briscoe.
Briscoe, yeah.
Do we want to go? I guess Bowman's projected to be extremely stupid at him, so we'll go Briscoe.
Yeah, I actually like that. Let's go Briscoe. And then who else were we talked about as far as getting different?
In that range, we talked about Barry, but he's a little pricier than expected.
Yeah. Do we go? I like Zane Smith's speed, so I'm probably going to play him.
Yeah.
So do we try so if we have Larson and Briscoe, I don't know if we really want another top 10 guy.
I mean, I just hit on Barry there a little bit, so that just kind of makes me feel like we should do this.
Okay.
Throw Gibbs in again, and then go right to Barry.
I actually like that. That's actually a pretty even build too. Really, to be honest with you, I actually really like that. So that'll probably be roughly what my single bullet looks like. So yeah, so that's it. So basically, like we said, I mean, you can punt if you want. I would not double punt. I would try to get 2 or 3 of them top 10 guys that you think is going to be able to lead laps because you're going to want as much of the pie as possible. So, but other than that, I think that's about it. Let's hope for a good race.
Clean race. A good clean race.
A good clean race. Let's try to win some money. And yeah, basically, yeah. Let's good clean race. Let's hope that the playoff race keeps us at the edge of our seats. Like Sterling said, low key. I kind of hope Denny Hamlin doesn't make it, but I just think it'd be funny. But
He'll probably dominate the race now.
probably will because I'm gonna fade him. So
That's what I'm leaning towards.
I think I've made the decision. I'm gonna fade him. So yeah, that'll probably happen. But thanks guys for tuning in. Give us a like and subscribe. Yeah, we're gonna try to do more of these. Obviously, I think next year we're gonna try to get into the more of this. So
Yeah, and next week, I don't know how we'll do it. I might have to try and do one on my own since you work days.
Yeah.
But Kansas, I think, is going to be
I love Kansas.
very big.
So, all right, guys, we'll see you next week.
See ya.